Hey, virtual students. This is Miss Holmes, and I'm just going to go through some expectations. We've had a week of school now, and I'm going to show you a little thing here about pacing. I'm going to show you a few things about my expectations of kind of what I've seen out of my virtual students so far. If you have already gotten started, good. That is my expectation, but I also want you to watch this video. So if you think, this is not applying to you, it does. Remember, I said always read all the emails we send and always watch all the videos that I send. This one should be probably around 17 or 18 minutes long. So please understand everything in this video is valuable, and the things that I'm going to lay out for you will last for the entire school year and especially semester. So understand this is good. Okay. So before you hear there's an 11th grade example, if you're my 10th and 12th graders tuning in, do not tune this out. Okay. So one of the first things I want to address here is pacing. Okay. Here before you, I know, again, let's just go on and establish my screen might just look a little bit different from yours, but just understand it's the same content. Okay. This 11th grade lesson here has Unit 1. They're all laid out the same. And this is American realism. Okay. The second lesson is complex characters in realism. And the third one is unreliable narrators in realism. Okay. So this is like the first three lessons for this 11th grade unit. Okay. So every single one has a tutorial and a mastery test. All right. So this was first assigned. The assigned date was on August the 5th. Okay. So this is how I do things. Okay. So for your English class, you would have from August the 5th until August the 9th to complete this first lesson. Okay. The second lesson, complex characters and realism, you would have from August the 10th to August the 15th to complete this lesson. And so on and so forth, And so sometimes you're going to have a lot of time. You might have 3 or 4 days. Other times you might have 2 days. Okay. What you need to establish is that you have your pacing set in front of you. You know when the whole semester's worth of work is due versus what you would have in your face-to-face class. So that's the beauty of virtual. Okay. So we've established pacing. You see when things are due. You know that my expectation is that work is due. Okay. So now I want to explain to you how I grade. Okay. Your tutorials and your mastery test are one together. You must complete your tutorials and you must do your mastery test. All right, this is lesson 1, this is lesson 2, this is lesson 3, which means I do this one first, this one second, this one third, and then so on and so forth. So you do that in consecutive order, meaning 1, 2, 3, 4. You don't skip around. Okay. So I hope that also is very clear from this particular message. So there'll be no confusion from this point forward. I just told you my expectation for that. Okay. I told you in the beginning, I would always be clear and communicate my expectation. So I just told you my expectation is that you will do these in order. All right. The next thing I want to go over is zeros. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be looking, I'm going to be seeing, we've had this first week of school. We've had this opportunity to kind of jump in and see where things are, and I realize some people are kind of being added here, there. My thing is this, you're going to have this whole unit, okay, to get your work done. All right. So it looks like to me, September 9th, that's when that post test is going to be opened up for you. If you have not completed the work here, do not take that post test. But you have until then to get it all done. And then this next one, the 14th, is when Unit 2 is you're supposed to get started. So you have from the 9th to the 14th to take your post test. After that, guys, it's locked. Okay. You're not going back. You're not doing the work over. It's a 0. Okay. Now, have you reached out to me? Have you asked me questions? Have you been taking good notes? Have you been doing all of these things that, I'm going to go over in a few minutes? Are these things that you have been looking after? These are big question marks for me. I'm going to follow up with you. If I see that you're not doing your work and I don't, and I'm not satisfied, I'm going to be, really getting on your nerves probably, and I'm going to be sending your parents and your guardians messages. I'm going to be saying, hey, I'm seeing that this is not okay. I'm going to be letting the principal know. I'm going to be letting the counselor know. I'm concerned. Okay, so I'm going to do my part. Okay, but you're the student, and so you need to do your part. So now that you know how I do this, these are my expectations. I don't think you're going to let me down. I think you're going to do the best you can to make sure that you are doing an amazing job in your virtual classes. Okay. So, post test. All right. So, I see that you've done a fabulous job. Okay. You've done your tutorials, you've taken your notes, you've aced your mastery test. Okay. You've got passing grades. You are doing what you were supposed to do. You get down to your post test, you're using your notes, you're rocking along, and boom, you fail. Okay. You make a below 60 grade. So 59 and below is considered a failing score. And you're going to send me a message, Miss Holmes, oh my gosh, I tried so hard. This was hard, but this is what I did. I have great notes, help me out. Let's look at this. And I'm going to ask you questions. We're going to talk about it. And I might send you back. I might say, hey, you need to go back and do the following. I looked in your tutorial and I see that there's some issues here. Okay. So those might be things that we do. I will reset that post test one time if it is a failing score. Okay. If I see that that is a failing score there and you've asked me and you've requested it, and I'm going to sit and you've done all these other things, I will only reset it the one time as long as it is in the time frame of when that test is open. After that date right there, guys, I'm moving on. Okay. We have a lot of tests, we have a lot of stuff to cover. Okay. This is school. Okay. Now, are there situations and circumstances? Yes, there's always things. But for my general rule, we're moving forward. Okay. I will put a 0 in it and keep moving. Okay. That's established. You know my expectations. So let's jump into a tutorial. So I want to show you a few things that I see, and these are kind of the best tried and true strategies that I have seen work the best for virtual students. And the most successful virtual students do the following things. Okay. And this goes for any of my high school students. I feel like as long as the students follow these simple things that I show you, I just don't see how you can go wrong with virtual. Okay. Because I understand, one, you're high school students. Okay. Some of you are CAD students. Some of you have a job. Some of you have responsibilities at home. And you are juggling your schedule. Okay. That is why virtual is so good for you. Okay. So we're going to help make this work. So listen to my strategies and see what you can do to make it work for your schedule. Okay. Make time for your education. All right. So all of the English lessons come up this exact same way. Slide number 1 is always the same slide. Okay. So let me just kind of introduce you to the content. So this table of contents comes up. You'll have, introduction. And for this particular one, it's got these multiple different options for you. And so you're going to, it'll walk you through this one of 26. So, somewhere in these 26 slides, these are the general markers that we'll go through. Okay. Your resources folder. This is my favorite part about all of the Edmentum lessons. Okay. If they are core classes, odds are you're going to have what they call the guided notes. Okay. I'm going to go in and open the guided notes. All right. So what guided notes are is they will basically Edmentum has taken the content. They have these questions, and then kind of these open-ended, these ways of just kind of walking you through the content, so that as you, a self-paced learner, you will be teaching yourself, right? Because I'm not going to be doing live lessons. I'm not going to be doing, a lot of the recorded lessons. You're working this around your schedule. Okay. So you will be your teacher essentially. Okay. So as your teacher, I'm sitting here thinking, oh my gosh, how can I put you through this? What am I do? So when I saw this, I said, okay, I can work with this. And then there's going to be lessons that I may send out videos and say, hey, we need to look at this particular part. Okay. So here's what I teach you to do about guided reading notes. All right. So when you open it, I ask that you take it and kind of toggle it like this. Okay. So you're going to kind of pull it down into its own window and then maybe shrink it. Okay. Because it'll float, right? And so in a minute, I'm going to click off of here. It'll be back there. Okay. It's going to be in the background, but it's there. Okay. It's not disappearing when I click off of it. All right. So I'm going to click over here. It's back there and we'll go back to it in just a moment. All right, so also in this resources folder, so you'll see it says an occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge, glossary. So any literature pieces that you're going to go through, you're going to find also another link to them over here in your resources folder. This is a fabulous way to be able just to quick reference these, okay? So know that you can always find them there. All right, here's the dictionary if you need one. These are reading tools. These are a great way to kind of incorporate having, the words read for you. It will pronounce words for you. You are learning. I do not expect you to know how words are pronounced, how they are supposed to be used in a sentence. There is just so much to be said when we are being taught content to have it read to us in a way. So this is how you use these. If you toggle this on, it says slide narration. When on, slides that contain narration will automatically play. Okay, so I'm going to turn that off. Click to speak. You can use like a male voice or a female voice. All right, so when you click on something, it would automatically read. Okay. Those that are bilingual, where they speak multiple languages, or you could translate if you need it. All right, and so the highlighter tool, this is an older feature of Edmentum. It doesn't really work in the way that we want it to anymore, so I just don't even use that one anymore. Okay, so kind of, I'm going to show you this video. It really doesn't have any pertinence anymore, but you can watch it this one time, and then you can skip it all the other times. So I'm going to watch it. Okay, so diving right in, this particular lesson is on American realism. And again, 10th graders, 12th graders, in your lesson 1, you're going to have your own content there. All right, so let's move on to slide 3. All right, so I told you, it would read it for you. And most of your slides should have this. So up here, you'll see this circle with the arrow. So let's select it.
In this lesson, you will evaluate the emergence of the realist period and its literature.
Okay, so now this is another wonderful feature that I like to show my students. Okay, so you will see here that usually at the beginning of most of these, there's a little video. It's a little intro video. All right, virtual students. One of the best things that you can do for you as a virtual student from here forward, okay, so call this a virtual tip. Anytime you have a video and you see these 3 little dots here and you have the capability to turn closed captions on, I recommend it, okay? Because think about it, like that movie Click with Adam Sandler in it, if you've seen it, he had the ability with this little remote control where he could like stop people from talking, in real time. Okay, well, we don't have the ability to do that. Sometimes I wished I did. And, rewinding real life and stuff like that. Well, we don't have that. So if you were face to face in a classroom, just think about all the distractions that go on in a classroom. Well, how many times have we missed things when our teachers are giving us lectures or when a concept's being taught in class and we miss it, okay? So here you get the opportunity to have the little slider. You can rewind, you can go back, excuse me, and you can you have the ability here of closed captions. Okay, so I like this because you have it spelled for you right there. It's a new word. You're listening to it being read to you. You're seeing it be read to you. In a minute, you're going to see on your guided reading, this is a new term for you. You're going to be able to put it in place. And there, boom, it's read for you right there. Okay, so without the closed caption, it's just being read. Okay, so that is a virtual tip. Take it, leave it, use it. I love it. Okay, so let's go. I'm going to let you watch some of this.
Reaction to Romanticism was based on the premise that literature should reflect reality rather than a romantic, idealized version of the world. The American realism movement began at the end of the Civil War and continued until 1910. Prominent American writers of the movement included Mark Twain, Jack London,
So you'll see that, these videos are not just, kind of random little blurbs. It's really about what that lesson is about. Okay. I'm going to move forward. Okay. So we have literary realism. All right. I'm going to let this read it for you.
Literary realism. Realism originated as a 19th century artistic movement that rebelled against the Romantics. While the Romantics felt that art should show the ideal, realist artists and writers focused on truth rather than beauty. They depicted the everyday world as it existed around them. Realist artists used various modes of expression to represent reality as accurately as possible. For example, the French painter Louis Robert Carrier-Belleuse illustrated the labor of the working class in the mid-1800s. The reality of such gritty subjects wouldn't have been addressed in Romantic art. Many Romantic paintings show beautiful scenes with idealized characters and situations, and Romantic literature often describes such scenes. The subjects and plots of realist works, however, are anything but ideal.
Okay. So one of the things we're going to do now is we're going to bring up that guided reading notes. Okay. And so again, if we have it floating in the window there, I'm just going to click. Okay. So there it is. And remember, I have a video for you. It shows you how to download these so that you can type on them. Okay. So you'll see where it says literary realism. Okay. And you'll see that these just follow right along with it. And I love these. Okay. So you have these big idea concepts here. It says, so literary realism focused on what? Okay. So we're going to just literally go over here. We're going to dig through our content. Okay. It says realism originated here. Okay. And it rebelled against the Romantics. Okay. It depicted the everyday world. It represented. Okay. So I'm going to be looking for these terms, right? You see here, it says depicted the everyday world. Okay. So it says, while the Romantics felt the art should show the ideal, realist artists and writers focused on truth. So what did it focus on? It focused on truth. Okay. It represented, okay, so we'll just go down and we'll dig through, okay. And it says, kind of as you're looking through, you're trying to really dig through your content here. Realist artists use various modes of expression to represent reality. Okay, so it represented reality. Okay, as accurately as possible. For example, the French painter. Okay, and then it goes on down and it talks about gritty. Okay, such as gritty subjects. All right. So that's just kind of how, the way that it walks you through it. Now, because you're a high school, you'll see that, the content's embedded a little deeper. You have to kind of walk yourself a little way through it. But you'll also see here where it says literary realism, see the connections. Okay. So that's what I'm trying to show you. Use your guided reading notes. You can choose to type them. You can choose to write them. Either way is totally fine. Okay. All right. So let's keep moving. American realism. All right. So again, we're going to kind of look at our guided reading notes. All right.
American realism. The American realism movement began around the end of the Civil War in 1865 and lasted to the beginning of the 20th century. As scientific and rationalist ideas progressed, American writers began creating literature that avoided idealism.
Okay. So I saw that. I'm going to move this up just a tad. Scooch my little window over so I can get that access that easier. Okay. So here it says the American realism movement began around the end of the Civil War in 1865. So right here, began around the end of the Civil War in 1865. Okay. So you would find more content on this page. I want to show you one or two more things before we get through this particular passage here. Okay, so when you see that there are items to answer, always try them, okay? And this is why. So again, I'm not really looking at the answers. I apologize for this. I just want to show you kind of something. I'm going to take my time. I'm going to learn it if I'm the student, right? Okay, and then I'm going to submit. Okay, oh, incorrect. Try again. That was a pretty good 50-50 guess, I guess. All right, but here's what I want to show you, okay? If I tried it again and I got down there, at the bottom here, you're going to see sample answers, okay? You can try it a few times, and it might just eventually just say, you know what? You gave us your best effort. You tried. And then it may just say, here's some sample answers down here at the, and they'll say, show your correct answers. All right. This is what I love about Edmentum. It's going to self-correct you, and it's going to say, hey, I see that you tried. Now look, virtual students, pay attention to this, okay? This is how you're going to learn, and you're going to learn from your mistakes, and you're going to be able to go back through it and say, hey, this is what I missed. This is that concept that I missed. All right. So you're going to see where it's explaining to you, okay? You're going to need that as you're going through this guided reading notes. These are going to be the things you're going to see on your mastery test, okay? This is that rich content. Edmentum was smart. They knew that students said, oh, yeah, that's true, false, or that's easy to kind of pick. But what they knew is you might try to skip over this, but this is where the content is, guys, okay? Virtual tip number 252, okay? Take it. Understand this is good stuff here. Okay, so make sure you're responding to these things that are put into here, okay? Make sure you're opening up the slide outs and you're reading the content, okay? You will see these passages again. All right. So, last big thing, in order to unlock your own mastery test, okay? Because you can take your mastery test as many times as you want to achieve the score that you want, right? So, in order to do that, all you have to do is click back through your tutorial, okay? And then when you get to that very last slide, you click save and exit, and it will unlock that mastery test for you. Okay, so this has been a 10th, 11th, and 12th grade, my expectations, everything you need to know. I hope you took the time to watch this. I'm going to expect an email from you, a message of some sort for you to say, Ms. Holmes, I've watched this. And I hope that you are getting into your virtual education, and every part that you spend into this and is valuable for you. Okay, thank you.